One thing we can say, man, Young Thug lawyer Brian Steele, man, he doing all he can. He giving it his best shot. You know, he arguing and pleading, going back and forth with the judge. He trying his best. You can tell the judge getting tired of him in the bond hearing. He had these character witnesses he brought up for Young Thug. First of all, he brought this 15-year-old boy that's from Jackson, Mississippi, that's been hanging around Thug since he was 8 years old. He commented on how Thug changed his life, how Thug showed him a better quality of life, how Thug took him to Cleveland Avenue neighborhood, and how he told him it's not where you start, you know, it's how you finish. And he had another character witness, Kevin Lyles, which was Young Thug's business partner, co-owner to the label. He spoke very highly of Young Thug. He got on the stand. He spoke about Young Thug being active in the community. He talked about how positive of a person Young Thug was in his life, how much of a benefit Young Thug is being on the streets. And he said he's willing to back Young Thug personally and professionally. And he's ready to lay his life on the line if that's what it takes to prove that Young Thug is an upstanding citizen. It's been so many conflicting rumors about Young Thug, so many rumors about him not being a good guy, so many rumors about him being involved in all these heinous crimes, him being the boss of these crimes. They've displayed most of the evidence they had with Yak Gotti snitching. They exposed the evidence of all the shootings. They exposing everything. So Young Thug had to be careful. And it seemed like this judge really, he ain't got a lot of time for the runaround. Because when Brian Steele was asking to bring the witnesses up, he made it clear. You know, if you got these people coming up to say he's an upstanding person in the community and stuff like that, I can tell you now, we don't need to hear that. He said it in a nice way, but basically let him know that he didn't want to hear it. And Brian Steele came back and say he was using the boy because he trying to make sure that in the charge that where they saying that Young Thug is a danger to the community, that's his point. That so they let you know that Brian Steele is equipped for the job. Because you could see on that judge's face that he didn't have time for that. He was ready to go. Like, he already had his mind made up on the decision that he was going to make. And Brian Steele, he had that look. I know those type of lawyers. And like I said before, Thug, I think, is in good hands because this guy has got his game face on. And if it's any way that he can get Young Thug out of this, it will be done. And we also know it's reports out there right now that's saying that it's people in Young Thug's camp that is snitching. They saying that they fear for their life, that they scared of Thug. They saying that Thug is very powerful and he can have them touched, he can have them killed. So you got to realize a lot of these guys that's hanging around, they hanging around and it's like they got caught in a web that they can't get out of. What we have to also look at is, are these guys using this as an excuse? Are they just ready to throw Thug under the bus to save their own lives? See, we know how the streets work, people. We know the average person, he can be the baddest, toughest goon on the streets. But when it comes to that law, he turned into a little kid, man. He's scared, he fidgeting, he's shaking. He ain't a man of honor no more. Like they say, man, can you be a man amongst men? And see, y'all letting this fame, y'all letting this money, y'all letting this flash, this glitter get in y'all head and trick y'all as if these are real men. But we see what they do when the pressure get on. We see what they do when the heat get on. Now they saying you got multiple members in the YSL camp ready to turn coat, ready to tell, ready to spill the beans, ready to snitch. And the prosecutor ain't making it no better, my people. Man, the state of Georgia is at Young Thug's head right now. Fulton County is done and tired of Young Thug's antics. This prosecutor got up before this judge and made Thug out to be the worst criminal, the worst gang member, the worst thug he could possibly pay him as. He told the judge that he got a collective amount of members. So more out of those 28, it's more than that Yak Gotti snitching. See, we stuck on that, but it's way bigger than that. You got more members in the group that have testified to the prosecution already behind closed doors that they fear for their lives, they fear for their families' lives, they fear for Thug getting the phone. They say Thug do all his calls on FaceTime, so it's untraceable. So he's a danger to these people and these people's lives. This prosecutor, he went in on Thug. And he ain't letting up. He had his facts, he laid it out, and he letting it be known that he want Thug to spend the rest of his life behind bars. And the judge say he not caught up on, the fact that Young Thug got money and him being a flight risk as far as him denying the bond. He was saying his major concern is the charges of danger to person and the fact that Young Thug can get people killed. The fact that he know that Young Thug has the power to call a hit or to call a shot or to do something behind the scenes that's unrighteous. This judge says he's basing the no bond upon that. But if you ask me, these judges and these prosecutors are working together. You have to face the fact. They are one. They are law. They fighting for the same cause. The way it's going is looking like Thug's best option is going to be to take a plea. But we all know in the court of law, especially with the type of lawyer Brian Steele is, it may be a slim chance that he can work something out, possibly get Thug the best deal he could get, or possibly beat the charge. But the conflicting part in that is the fact that you have these YSL members willing to snitch that the judge knows have been around Young Thug. They got all these burner phones they found from Yak Gotti. They got all this stuff going on. They got all these other members that's been committing these crimes. But now it's time to stand tall. And the prosecutor standing up with confidence saying that he already got witnesses. He already got people to turn. So we praying for Young Thug. We praying for the YSL count. And we pray it turn out the best way it possibly can for those guys. Like and subscribe to the video, my people.